All right, so if you clicked on this video, you probably have a Google business profile that might not be getting the results you wanted to get. So in this video, I'm gonna break down exactly how you are going to rank your Google business profile into that 3-pack within the next 2 weeks. I guarantee this is not gonna be the same traditional advice that you hear on the internet. I know it sounds too good to be true, but I promise you it works. Just trust me, listen to this video. It's gonna be nothing that you've ever heard before. Watch it through, trust the process, and I guarantee you will be ranking in that 3-pack within the next 2 weeks. All right, everybody, here it is, the exact blueprint that you are going to follow to rank your Google business profile into that 3-pack within the next 2 weeks, guaranteed. No, you're not gonna have to spend $5,000 on a website and do a ton of SEO and all the bullshit that you probably hear all the time. This is going to be genuine advice that you can actually implement. And I promise if literally, I guarantee if you do not rank within the next 2 weeks, message me, I'll send you $1,000. It is literally impossible not to rank if you implement these things. And why should you even believe me? Here I have pulled up 3 Google business profiles listed under the plumber category. As you can see here, when you search for a plumber in the city of Newmarket, my business listing is the first that shows up organically. Over here for Richmond Hill, again, the first business listing that will show up organically, top of Google. And over here in Oshawa, you can see I am the second search after this guy with 1,400 reviews. So I have a pretty good idea of what I'm doing. This is just 3 of my profiles. I've done this for dozens of profiles. And I'm here to tell you that it doesn't have to be that hard, okay? So traditional way, probably what you usually hear in YouTube videos or any kind of content that talks about how to rank your profile, they're gonna tell you you have to do a ton of SEO, all this keyword stuff, getting a bunch of citations, backlinks, spending money on a website, waiting 6 months. You don't have to do any of that, okay? Simple strategy, here it is. Here's how you're gonna do it in 2 weeks, and I'll break down exactly how to actually implement these things. First thing, strategic placement. Number 2, quantity of reviews. Number 3, hitting the right metrics. Number 4, a decent amount of SEO, but nothing crazy. And number 5, real human activity, okay? And the reason this actually works like this is if you think about it, Google's only objective is to show customers the best solution to their problems, okay? So it doesn't care if your SEO is good if you have a shit service, right? I mean, obviously the SEO makes Google think that you do have a good service if you do it correctly, but it isn't the number one thing, especially with Google My Business, okay? So this doesn't just mean SEO. This means reviews, this means your competition, the rating of your profile, activity on your profile. So number 1 for reviews, being able to actually have a competitive amount of reviews with these other profiles. So that's why I touch on in a bunch of my other videos how you can get, tens and hundreds of reviews on your profiles. Yes, every single company, by the way, that ranks in the top 3 in a big city like this with 1,400 reviews, those are all fake reviews, okay? So if you want to compete, you're going to get some fake reviews on your profile and suck it up. So I have tons of videos on how you can get dozens, even hundreds of fake reviews on your profiles for super cheap. If you want to check them out, I'll link one video over here on how to do that. And essentially, by the way, the reason I have all these plumbing profiles up is because this is literally what my business is. I work with plumbers. I rank Google business profiles in different cities for the plumbing category, and I partner with a plumber who will do the work, and we are going to split the payment there, and that's how I make my money. So essentially, how are we actually going to implement all these things? Okay, so the first one, placement. You want to look for areas that are uncompetitive with also high search volumes, okay? So different cities and different services are going to have different amounts of search volumes, and they will also have a different level of competition based on that service and that city. So for example, and these are just numbers that I typically like to look for. If you can find a city that hits these numbers, you are generally going to be in a very good spot. Now, this is not possible for everybody, especially if you do own your own service business and you're not just setting this up as a lead gen thing as I do. This is going to be a little bit different. However, everything else still applies. This is just one thing that if you aren't so picky about the placement is a great thing to look for. So in terms of search volume, I like to make sure that there is at the very least 400 searches a month for that service. So this could be anything that is related to that service, but obviously like clearly related. So for example, if you go into, SEMrush, for example, and you go to the keyword overview and you search up plumber in Toronto or plumber Toronto, you want to make sure that there is at least 400 searches a month for plumber Toronto or plumbing Toronto, or generally anything that is the same idea pretty much. You want to look for that because also sometimes you'll search something up and it'll have completely different like there'll be searches for it, but it's for a completely different thing. And so you just want to make sure that you know exactly that it is 400 searches for that service in that city. So that's the first thing. The second thing is reviews. So you want to make sure that you have at least or close to as many reviews as the last person in the 3-pack. So just to put a visual example on this, if I'm taking a look at this city over here, I rank first. I do have 70 reviews. However, if I was looking at these other two, and let's say the third also had a similar amount of reviews, or you know what, for simplicity, let's say this is the 3-pack. I don't even have a business here and I want to get it listed. I would want to go for at least 29 reviews in a city like this. Now you can get away with lower because you're going to be implementing everything else. However, I would usually look to match up with the third place person in terms of actual review count. Okay. So that is going to be your first step in terms of reviews. Like I said, I linked the video for how to get a ton of reviews on your profile if you need that. Okay, now in terms of metrics, so you pretty much just want to one-up your competition with reviews, rating, more filled out. So as I was saying, the more reviews, the better, of course, but also the rating, right? So if your competitors have a 4.7 and you're able to get up to a 4.9, which should be pretty easy, especially if you're loading your profile with reviews that are 5 stars. It's very difficult to not have at least a 4.9. You got to get a lot of 1 stars. So it's pretty easy to outcompete in that sense. Review count, of course, like I said, it's not that hard to get hundreds of reviews on your profiles. And then also like filling out your business profile, right? So having a good description, having products, service areas, different things on your profile that actually fill it out and make it a complete profile. You want to make sure that you have, which I will jump into explaining all of that in just a second. But that is the next part. Now, in terms of SEO, to be completely honest, 90% of this is going to come down to the title and the description. Not even so much the description, 90% the title, okay? So in your title, you want to have, and you'll notice this as a trend in every single one of these profiles, I have the service as well as the city name, okay? So Plummer, Oshawa, right? Plummer, Richmond Hill, and this is the city of Richmond Hill, right? Plummer, Newmarket, okay? So do a little bit of research, Check on SEMrush, pretty much super easy, by the way. I'll just show you guys how to do this. Literally go to SEMrush.com and then go to keyword overview. Hold on, let me just find it. Okay, boom, I found it. So now we're on SEMrush keywords overview tool. Literally just search up this exact same thing in your browser and you look for your service plus city. So let's go Richmond Hill, okay? So this is how I know that this is a great city to get into, right? I search. And I see that there is 2,700 searches a month for a plumber in this city, okay? So we can go here and we'll see to just make sure that this is actually related things. So for example, what I was saying, like plumbing supplies, you could pretty much discard the 90 searches a month for that. So that's pretty much irrelevant. You don't care about that. But everything else is typically the same. So you want to make sure that there's at least 400 a month for that. And you also want to make sure that your title is in alignment with what the most common search is. So if plumbing was a higher search than plumber, as you can see, it's not, where there is, whatever 480 plus 260 is for plumber versus plumbing, you see that plumber takes the lead. So you want to make sure that you have the most commonly searched thing in your title, whether that is, for whatever service, right? If it's roofing or roofer, you want to make sure you know what's most common and you want to use that as your main sort of keyword in your title, okay? So that's kind of the first step over here. Where was I? There I am, okay? And that's actually going to be like 90% of your SEO. Everything else matters so little. If you have everything else in place, it really just, this is 90% of it, okay? And then activity too. So Google likes to see that you are actually active on your profile. There's human activity, there's calls coming in, you're answering. So make sure your business is open as much as possible. If you can have it open for 24/7, that's going to help its ranking. Especially also when the business is closed, that's going to tank it. So when your business is open 24 hours, it's going to rank higher across the board. And even if you're not answering the phone, there's activity coming in. Google likes to see it, and that is going to help with your ranking, okay? But you also do want to be trying to answer your phone, and you just want to make sure that there is as much engagement really as possible on your profile, and you're not letting anything go to waste, okay? Now, I'm going to touch on everything SEO-wise that you need to do. Again, take this all with sort of like a grain of salt. Genuinely, if you're able to get all of this set up properly, that's going to be 99% of your best bet. And you really just want to take advantage of these numbers, right? If you own a service business, and you might not be able to strategically pick out a place that has great search volumes, at least 400. ideally, you'd want the 3-pack to have 2 under 100 reviews, but that's not always possible. So take advantage of what you can. Again, if you're a service business and you have a Google business profile, just do your best to get as many reviews as the top 3. And after you're done with all of this kind of stuff over here, then you can move on to this over here. Okay, so the first thing, title, as I was saying, make sure that you have that main keyword. Don't stuff keywords into your title. Now this is something that helps a little bit. If you can have the city all the way to the left, or more so to the left, that's actually going to help your ranking a little bit. I don't know why, but it does. Does it really? Like, honestly, to be completely honest, I've just noticed from anecdote that it does. I can't verify 100% whether that is a real thing or not, but I'm just going to put it in here because if it worked for me, it probably will work for you. And then the last thing, conversion. So make sure that your title is actually like properly named for your business, because if you have just some random bullshit in your title, people are not going to click and you're not going to convert well, which, you know, obviously just ranking is great. However, not getting calls and ranking is even worse. Then, well, it's not worse, but you know, it sucks too, right? So you want to make sure that your conversion rate is on point. I'll take a second to touch base on that as well. Make sure you have good photos that are organic and professional looking, not just like stock images. Make sure your rating is good. If you have under a 4.8, you're probably not going to get many calls. Make sure your review quality is good. So, you know, try to make sure that it's not a bunch of like fake Indian names, and that there's photos in the reviews, and that the photos are descriptive, and like honestly, the reviews are descriptive. As much detail really as possible is going to help a ton. A good website, good content. You don't want it to look scammy. You want it to look clean. You want it to look well done. You want it to load fast. And then also, as I was saying, all your sections in your Google business profile being filled out. So that's pretty much all of this stuff over here that I will touch on in a second. But apart from the title, the description is very important. So you do have 750 characters to play with. You want to make sure that you are using them, right? So the usual way that I'll go about making a description is literally just by going into ChatGPT and saying, write me an SEO optimized description for my business name using these keywords 2 to 3 times. Okay, so you want to get your main keywords used 2 to 3 times. And honestly, 90% of it, again, is just going to come down to having service and city name. Like literally, you don't have to overcomplicate it. You could still rank top 3, top 2. You can rank first without having to overcomplicate it and getting all the right keywords and everything. So that's the main thing. Again, no stuffing. Like, try not to just stuff a bunch of keywords into your description. Tell ChatGPT to make it, human-like. And then also you want to add a second category to your business profile that's going to be relevant. So for example, if you're a plumber, you want to go ahead and add something like contractor, right? And even the first one is going to be very important, because if you have a business profile for plumbing and it's listed as like an HVAC service, maybe you do both, right? You want to stick to one. That's going to help. That's going to help a lot more. It's better to rank for one than to not rank for both of them. So that's going to be important. Now for the reviews themselves, reviews can be quite long, and you're also going to be able to reply to them with like up to 4,000 characters, I believe. So you want to make sure that you're replying to all of your reviews with the same sort of concepts. Use those right keywords. Again, go into SEMrush and literally just see what people are searching for, right? Like you can see service comes up a lot, emergency comes up a lot. So you want to be hitting those words that people are really just searching for when they're looking for this service in the city. So drain, near me, emergency. You want to be using those keywords 2 to 3 times in your titles, in your descriptions, and everything. Or not in your titles, in your description and everything else that I'll talk to in just a second. Make sure you are, again, like I said, replying to your reviews. Try to get these people to leave good reviews with a lot of quality in them, photos attached to them, everything that they can do. And you also want to make sure or try your best to get consistent reviews. So even if you can get 1 review a week, it at least shows some consistency. It proves like your business is actually active. It's not dead. People are interacting. That's another big thing. Now, service area and zip codes, okay? So this is more so if your business is listed as a service area business. Let me actually show you how you can do this in real time. Okay, so as you can see here, you will have an area on your business profile where you can put different service areas, okay? So what I recommend doing here is actually not putting cities as your service area, but zip codes. This way, you're gonna be able to get a lot more targeted. So if you're able to get zip codes, that's going to make it a lot more targeted, and you're going to be able to pretty much rank better in a small area, which is essentially always the goal. You don't want to try to rank across like a whole massive area, because it's just not going to happen. So you really want to be as targeted as possible. So what I would honestly really just do is go into ChatGPT and type this in and be like, hey, give me the 15 zip codes within a 10-mile radius of this address, and add them all in. Or I would even go short. I would go maybe like a 7-mile radius. And you're literally just gonna add them in one by one, instead of doing actual cities as your service area. So that is going to be what you wanna do for your service areas. Very simple, really, that's all it is. I think you can do 20 different zip codes. So I would go that, and just make sure, like I said, that you're ranking narrowly. You don't want to be trying to spread it across, a huge area. Now for the actual services, okay, so you want to choose pretty much like everything that could, possibly be done by your business, and you want to actually even add like additional services, okay. So what you can do, and a lot of people don't know, is, let me just show you actually, for services, where's services? Hold on, give me a second, I'm slow. I'm gonna find it. Hold on. Sorry, I'm slow. So yeah, edit services, and pretty much just add everything that comes up as like as a default option. And you also want to go ahead and add like your secondary stuff too. So boom, literally add all this stuff if you do it. And then you also want to add some custom services as well. Now again, what a lot of people don't know is that for each one of these services, what you can do is add a description. So this is another area where you can go ahead and use 2 to 3 keywords and sort of build out your profile and fill it out. When I say you want to fill out your profile, this is exactly what I'm talking about. You want to make sure everything is done, right? Even all of this stuff at the bottom here, just random stuff like this, like, like what the fuck does that even mean? I don't know, like this, like obviously not, but you want to make sure that you fill it out, and that is going to really help you, okay? Now, what is next here? Products. Okay, products. So pretty much most of you guys are service businesses, so you really won't have any products. So here you're actually just going to add services that you offer. So for example, this is a car detailing profile over here. When I go ahead to add products, you can add just like random products that would apply to your business as an area where you can go ahead and put keywords. But what I usually would like to do is add a service. So for here, I'd go like interior detail, right? And that way you can hit other keywords that people target, like interior detailing might be one. And same thing, go ahead, blah, 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 fill out your ChatGPT description here. Again, literally for all descriptions and everything, just use ChatGPT, tell it the character limit, and say use these keywords 2 to 3 times. Landing page, just throw yours in and then add photo. Very simple for products, but it does make sense, and it does help a lot to make sure that everything is filled out. Add around 5 products, okay? Now updates, these are like honestly not important at all, but they might help a little bit. Pretty much you'll have an area on your profile where you can go ahead and add daily updates and posts and stuff like that. So you can go update, offer, event, same idea. Always literally just ChatGPT, tell it the character count, say these keywords 2 to 3 times, and you're good to go. That's it for the updates. Very, very simple. And then for your website, again, this really doesn't matter that much. I know a lot of people will try to make you think that you need to spend $5,000 on a website. I use website templates. Again, literally market ranking completely first in this whole city. Click the website. It's a template, not even edited, not at all. Look at the domain, it's completely off. The website really doesn't matter. Like, I don't know why people think it matters so much. And again, just to prove like I actually own this profile, because otherwise what I say means nothing. As you can see, it is right over here. Okay, so that is going to be it for the website. Literally, you just want to make sure it's a good website, it's clean, it loads fast. Yes, you want keywords. Yes, you could eventually probably make some extra money by investing into backlinks and citations. It's going to help you rank, but that's kind of something that you would do once everything else is filled out, because it really isn't that important. And that is pretty much all. So just to reiterate, okay, make sure you're getting into an area where it isn't as competitive as, you just want to look for a place where it's not that competitive, right? So if the 3-pack, 2 out of 3 have under 100 reviews, that's a really good area to get into. Yes, this is not going to be applicable for everybody, because some of you might actually have service businesses and you have to stay local to where you actually service. So in that case, just do your best to outcompete in terms of reviews. hit the same amount as the top 3 person, or the bottom of the top 3 person has. Again, watch that review video that I have. Make sure that you have all of this stuff filled out and at least a degree of SEO done. Again, like, I'm not saying it's not important whatsoever, but it's a lot less important than what a lot of people make it out to be. Genuinely, the reviews are probably like, I don't know, 75% of it. So if you can get a bunch of reviews, like, you're just gonna rank higher than other people just because you have a bunch of reviews, and it's not that hard to get reviews at all. I'm just being real. So essentially, that's the first step. Get enough reviews, get into a good placement if you can, do a decent amount of SEO, and try to keep your profile active in as many aspects as possible. Like I said, keep it open, answer your calls, interact, and all of that kind of stuff. Update it, get a review every week or so. Just keep your profile alive and active, okay? So that is pretty much it. If you are interested in getting a more one-on-one personalized approach, whether either you have a service-based business and you want help setting up more profiles or ranking them better, I'll leave a link to book a call with me down below in the description, as well as the pinned comment. We'll go over what I offer, and if it makes sense, we can sort of do something from there. But essentially, I run a remote plumbing company where I rank these profiles and contract the work. If you're interested in doing something like that, pretty much break down exactly how I hit $80,000 a month in revenue doing this exact same business model, and pretty much show you how I could potentially help you do the same. If you're a service-based business owner, I work with multiple service-based business owners doing $200,000-$300,000 a month organically through their Google business profiles. If you're interested in having a setup like that, you can go ahead and book that call, and I'll show you how I can set that up for you as well. And I'll leave it there. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a subscribe, leave a like, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Again, link to book call is going to be in the description, and I hope you guys found some value.